I bring this special meeting to order on Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018 at 6:05. There's a need for executive session this evening under CSR-20-6-402 4B, Legal Advice Board, to conference with the attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific matters. I need a motion to move into executive session. So moved. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, is the purpose to discuss the BEST grant?
That's part of it, Dr. Hyde, yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? Roll call, Monica, please.
Did you have a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. I would like to bring Adams 14 Board meeting to order on Tuesday, October the 23rd, 2018 at 6:48 p.m. Please stand and join us for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need a motion to approve the minutes for October the 18th.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me. Monica, roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Here.
Mr. Moreno?
Here.
Mrs. Quintana?
Excuse.
Mr. Rolla?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here. Now can I get a motion to approve October 18, 2018 minutes?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion. Roll call, Monica, please.
Just a correction, it's October 8th.
8th. Roll call, Monica, please. Thank you.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. I need a motion to approve the minutes for October 9th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Is there discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye. Aye. I need a motion to amend the agenda to remove business items 4.4, purchase a Super Kids reading program from Zaire Bozer, and also remove 4.5, contract for Airbnb architect for the board to provide the future study session.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda with the removal of items 4.4 and 4.5.
Can I get a second?
I second it.
Is there any discussion? Yes. The discussion on 4.5 for the architect, that would be Mr. Milner is going to contact. Please come up, Mr. Milner. Will you explain why we are amending this item off the agenda, please, so that the audience will know?
We'd like to have a study session for the community and anybody in one of our stakeholders to be able to come and see a presentation for the architects to see the process that we've gone through to get to the point to try and move this architect forward for the new build of the Allsup building. Pending when the board would be available to meet next week for a study session and approval from Principal Menard when they have availability. We'd like to hold that at Allsup Elementary and would welcome everybody to come and be a part of that.
And how would you get that out to our stakeholders so they can be informed that the Board of Education, Adams 14, is having a study session on the architect of the new also?
I'll work with the communications department, make sure that we can send that out, put it on our website, send an email out to Principal Menard to pass along to all the students and the staff there to make sure that gets spread out. We'll try and contact as many local municipalities that we can to make sure that they are knowledgeable of that and the time and the location of that. If we can put something out through a robocall or something like that, we'll try and do that. But I'll work with communications to see whatever communications we have available to make sure everybody is knowledgeable of the time and the date of that.
And we would like for also principal and our assistant principals to be all included on everything y'all do so they know what's going on too. So I don't want them to be blindsided and then we come and not know what's going on. We want the community to also know what's going on. They are stakeholders, so we all want to be on the same page. So that's the most important thing about this architect and also community. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I have roll call, Monica, please?
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. At this time, I would like to officially open the public hearing for KIPP Charter School. Ms. Burke, please provide us with the overview to begin. Monica, are there any public comments too for KIPP?
I'll call him.
Okay, after she finishes. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Vice President Thomas, distinguished members of the board, Superintendent Abrego. My name is Sheila Burke, and this year I'm serving as the Executive Director of Federal Programs, Intervention Services, Technology, and temporarily supporting communications. Tonight I'm here to share our charter school application process as an overview and move into our public hearing on the charter school application we received from KIPP. Tonight we're going to go through the charter application review process and answer board education questions as needed. Our process overview consisted of the charter school applies to a school district. A number of laws, policies, and best practices are followed to make sure that the charter school is going to be high quality. In there, we made sure that we were in compliance with state law, local policy, and national best practice. To evaluate the application, we used board policy and a state-provided rubric. The board policy LBD states that the charter schools should expand learning opportunities for all students, encourage diverse approaches, including through the use of proven teaching methods, provide parents, guardians, and students with expanded choices, and encourage parental and community involvement. We use the Colorado Model Rubric to help the application review team evaluate the application. Displayed, you will see the extended timeline that we followed as agreed by our applicant in Adams 14. As a reminder, the board will be making a decision based on these buckets of input. DAC, the DAC's recommendation, the superintendent recommendation, both made public on October 9th. And the community input will be based on feedback received during the community meetings and public comments hosted by the board. This is just some information about our applicant. Next, we're going to talk about the process that the superintendent followed. The superintendent weighed 4 buckets of evidence to formulate his recommendation. This is based on how superintendents in high-performing school districts make their decisions. It is his prerogative to follow this evidence or to formulate his own recommendation based on other factors. In there, we considered, Dr. Bregel considered the application review team or ART opinions, community feedback, the applicant's track record, and other considerations. Our application review team, or ART, was part of the superintendent's recommendation process. The application review team is composed of internal and external experts. Each member of the team brings a particular skill set to the review. To complete the review, each ART member read the application or sections of the application and evaluated the application against the Colorado Model Rubric, which is a comprehensive tool that covers all topics of school design, school culture, academic program, budget. Members of this team also interviewed the applicant for 90 minutes using questions they generated during their initial review of the application. The evidence collected by this team is included as Appendix A in the packet I provided you. In addition to the superintendent recommendation, DAC also reviewed the charter school application, and I'll provide an overview of the process that DAC followed. DAC began with receiving the application materials, building background on the process, roles, and responsibilities, a panel discussion. DAC representatives toured KIPP schools, Colorado schools, reviewed the application materials, finalized their recommendation, presented the recommendation to the Adams 14 board, and presented their recommendation to the community. The DAC gives an independent recommendation to the board. The district supported the DAC in completing this review, and DAC representatives can be available to ask any specific questions to their review process. As mentioned on slide 7, community engagement is part of our review process. Adams 14 hosted 3 community meetings, as you can see listed. Data was collected at each meeting for the board's consideration. A large part of the community input bucket is feedback from the community meetings on September 18th. During these meetings, the district detailed the charter authorization process, and KIPP had an opportunity to present to our community. We had 66 parents and community members in the morning meeting and 32 parents and community members in the evening meeting, for 98 families and community members in all. We collected information for the board using a note catcher. This feedback is available in hard copies, and I've also included it in your presentation. On average, KIPP received positive feedback from meeting attendees. Average scores range from 3.7 to 3.3. 1 is the lowest score, or strongly disagree. 5 is the highest, or I strongly agree. And the full account of qualitative feedback is provided in a hard copy, and it's also online at adams14.org. On average, KIPP received positive feedback again from meeting attendees. Average scores range from 3.7 to 3.3. Again, with 1 is the lowest score, or I strongly disagree, 5 being the highest, or I strongly agree. And again, the feedback is provided in a hard copy for you and available on our website, and this is just a representation of disaggregated groups. This is from our school tours on 9/26. Again, KIPP received positive feedback from the meeting attendees. The average scores again range from 3.7 to 3.3, following the same range, with 1 being the lowest and strongly disagree, and 5 being the highest where they strongly agree. Here's our community meeting on October 11th. Meeting attendees from this particular meeting agreed with the superintendent and DAC on their recommendations, as you can see in each slide. Any questions on our process?
So that's the process, and that's the process. And then are you going to go into the results or the? of the process?
So the results were listed in the surveys from the community. In Appendix A, we have the application review team, or the ART, that provided their recommendation to Dr. Abrego. Their recommendation to Dr. Abrego was approved with conditions. Some of the areas that they wanted to focus on with conditions were around a biliteracy plan, professional development, a detailed transition plan, and then post-secondary options for KIP through college. That's also included in your packet under Appendix A. And then some standard conditions that the team came up with as part of their recommendation to the superintendent was also included in that appendix. And again, the hard copies are in your packet. The other consideration is under Appendix B, which is also included in your packet, and this is KIP Colorado's track record. This goes over their performance rating, school performance outcomes around student achievement, and you can see Adams 14 is in the first box, with KIP schools following to the right of that. Same thing, more data. This is students with IEPs, without FRLs, and then non-FRLs, and then you have the coding below that for the key. This is our overall performance in comparison to Adams 14 compared to KIP schools. One is on English language arts, the other's on math, and then same thing, English language arts in our subpopulation groups. And then their performance ratings from the state.
I have a question.
Sure.
I was reading this article in Chalkbeat dated January the 22nd, 2018, and it says, as low-income families exit Denver, Charter Network KIP is looking to follow. As gentrification continues to squeeze low-income families and push them out to surrounding suburbs, the effect of shifting school-age population continues to reverberate in Denver area schools. Did y'all look into that so much as to, we know the income is rising up in Denver, but this article was dated January 28. And there's another article I read saying KIP was thinking about putting in an application in Aurora, but it didn't. So I'm just trying to figure out if they following this low income families. I'm just not understanding that. So, what is the demographics and are they serving as far as free and reduced lunch students?
So here's some of their data in comparison to our middle schools. You can see on there we have students with IEPs, students without is the next column, students on free and reduced lunch, and then students that are non-free and reduced lunch that don't qualify. The blue markers are KIP Northeast Denver Middle School, and then KIP Sunshine Peak Academy, which is 5.8, and then that's compared to Adams City Middle School and Kearney Middle School. So that's some demographics. I'm not sure I can answer your question specifically. As we were working in our process, we followed the compliance of the law and the state statutes. With the art review team, they specifically reviewed the contents of the application and the merits of that using the rubric. So they also considered the interview from the questions that were formulated from the rubric, from information that was either needed clarification from the application or things that were left out or missing that they felt that they needed more information from. So they solely made their recommendation on that. Dr. Abrego used other sources and other information to formulate his recommendation. Our art review team did it off of the application and the merits of the application that was submitted. DAC also completed additional research that they sought after, and they also reviewed the application and scored it based off of the merits of what was included in there. And then they selected their own rubric to score it off of.
Do you have the average income for the students?
I don't.
Okay, thank you.
I can get that if you would like it.
Please.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Monica, can you please call up individuals who would like to speak on KIP's behalf, please?
Dan Shaler.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Dan Schaller. I am the Vice President of State and Local Policy at the Colorado League of Charter Schools. We are a nonprofit statewide membership organization that represents the interests of the vast majority of charter schools here in Colorado. I am here tonight to speak in support of KIPP Colorado's Commerce City Academy application. And I'd like to begin by taking a quick moment to highlight the Colorado League of Charter Schools vision, which simply states that all Colorado students deserve access to high-quality public school options. I mention that this evening because I think it's important to highlight that the word charter school does not even appear in that vision. It simply states that all Colorado children deserve access to high-quality public school options. And there's a reason that it doesn't include the word charter school. It's because we're not in this work solely to promote charter schools for charter schools' sake, but rather because we see charter schools as a key lever for ensuring all Colorado students have access to the educational opportunities they need and deserve. So I wouldn't be here tonight if we didn't believe that the application KIPP Colorado has submitted to open a new school here in Adams 14 represents just this sort of opportunity for the students and families of Commerce City. Since establishing themselves in Colorado in 2002, KIPP has demonstrated a consistently strong track record of performance with some of our state's most historically underserved student populations. That doesn't mean they've always been 100% perfect, a point that I think the KIPP Colorado team would attest to, but they have been remarkably good for a prolonged period of time, consistently placing schools at or near the top of statewide rankings of schools getting the best results for the kids our system most often overlooks. And that is an opportunity I would hate to see the children and families of Commerce City miss out on, particularly if the decision were made for political or philosophical reasons. Across its network of schools here in Colorado, KIPP is serving a student population that either very closely mirrors or in many cases exceeds district averages for Adams 14. 54% English language learners as compared with 48% for the district. 9% special education students as compared with 11% for the district. 89% free or reduced price lunch students as compared with 87% for the district. And 96% students of color as compared with 89% for the district. And at the same time that they serve a very similar demographic profile of students as that of the district, they have a very strong track record of success in doing so. Indeed, on the most recent round of state-level performance data, KIPP schools average nearly 63%, which is over 20 percentage points higher than that seen throughout the rest of the district. During the course of the debate on this application that has played out over the past few months, there have been plenty of rationalizations and philosophical explanations offered for why this opportunity shouldn't be extended to the students of Adams 14, but I've yet to hear any that should override the pressing need of families who simply want a high-quality educational option for their children. Please don't let politics and philosophy get in the way of what's right for kids. Please accept this application. Thank you.
Kimberly Sia.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Abrego. My name is Kimberly Sia, and I'm the CEO of KIPP Colorado Schools. I've spent my my entire career in public education. I've had the pleasure to serve as a nationally board-certified classroom teacher and union president. I was a school founder and a principal, a chief academic officer, and now I lead KIPP Colorado Schools. In each of my roles in public education, I've valued the multiple opportunities afforded to me to build relationships with incredible students, families, and community members. Hearing their stories, how they define their futures, seeing their brilliance shine, and learning what motivates them inspires me every day. At KIPP Colorado, we have a value that highlights the importance of these relationships, team and family. Our entire community is team and family. We work collaboratively to solve problems. We are all focused on the same goals. It has been over a year since I started talking with students and families in the Adams 14 School District about their goals around education. I heard from a third grader about how she was scared to go to school each day because of the bullying that was happening. When this child and her mother went to talk to the school about the concern, they were told there was nothing they could do. The situation got so bad that the third grader didn't want to go to school each day, and her mother finally put the child in a different school district. Over my years in education, and as a parent myself, I have seen the impact of creating safe, structured, and nurturing environments for learning and engagement. No student or parent should have to choose between learning and their physical and emotional well-being. I've also met several parents from Adams 14 who were concerned about the academic success for their children. The mother of an 8th grader who was promoted to the next grade each year with failing grades and limited reading skills. The mother of a now 11th grader with a learning disability who was told he would never learn and forced to spend each day in a classroom for students with needs far more severe than his. I have seen both of these former Adams 14 students who now attend KIPP Colorado Schools thrive when provided high-quality instruction that develops the knowledge, skills, and character strengths needed to succeed in college and career and lead choice-filled lives. Meeting with students, families, and community groups over the last year, I've also heard the need to collaborate as partners to enhance learning, to create enriching opportunities both during the school day and as extended learning opportunities beyond the school day, and to ensure that families have strong support systems. Through partnerships with organizations START, Denver Health, Denver Food Rescue, Boys and Girls Clubs, Colorado Outward Bound School, Build Strong Education, Colorado State University, Metro State University, and more, we are able to bring opportunities into the classroom for students, provide learning experiences outside the classroom, and ensure our families have supports they need for themselves and their children. We remain committed, more than ever, to the families and students in Adams 14 to help them reach their goals, and look forward to an opportunity to partner with the district to deliver on the high-quality education all children deserve. Thank you.
Sandra Erika Madera.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Sandra Madera. Tengo 2 hijos en la primaria y secundaria de KIPP en Green Valley Ranch.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Madera, and I have 2 children in KIPP Elementary and Middle School in Green Valley Ranch.
Escogí estas escuelas por el compromiso que ofrecen en la educación de los estudiantes y en el crecimiento académico de alta calidad. El personal es muy competitivo y siempre están dispuestos a ayudar a los estudiantes aún después del horario de clases.
I chose these schools for the commitment they offer and the education of students of high-quality academic growth. The staff is very competitive and is always willing to help students even after school hours.
Cuando mi hijo tiene un mal día, los maestros se toman el tiempo para llamarme o mandarme un mensaje para dejarme saber que está batallando con su clase. Se involucran mucho en los sentimientos de los niños y cómo pasan sus días.
When my son has a bad day, the teachers take the time to call me or send me a message to let me know that he's struggling with his class. The investment in the feelings of the children and how they spend their days.
Aunque algunos de los maestros no hablan español, hacen el esfuerzo para comunicarse. Mi hija está en Boys and Girls Club en la escuela, y si no puedo llegar a tiempo para recogerla, ellos se aseguran de que ella esté segura ahí.
Although some of the teachers do not speak Spanish, they make the effort to communicate. My daughter is in the Boys and Girls Club at school, and if I cannot pick her up in time because I'm running late from work, they make sure to take care of her, even if it's after the programming ends.
Es bonito saber que las escuelas están al pendiente de los niños y les importa lo que pensamos. Cada mes las directoras de las escuelas hacen cafecitos con los padres para escuchar nuestras preocupaciones y sugerencias. Son juntas importantes con la oportunidad de que las familias colaboren con las escuelas. No se de ninguna otra escuela que ofrezca esto.
It is nice to know that the schools care for our children and their families. Each month, the principals of the schools have coffee with the parents to listen to our concerns and suggestions. They are important meetings with the opportunity for families to collaborate with the schools. No other schools I know offer this.
Tengo familia en Commerce City. Mi prima me ha hablado de su experiencia en escuelas de Adams 14 y del nivel académico bajo que tienen. Cuando ella supo de la oportunidad de tener una escuela de alta calidad que ofrece una comunidad que apoya a los niños y un mejor nivel académico, fue una luz de esperanza.
I have family in Commerce City. My cousin told me about her experience in Adams 14 schools and the low academic level they have. When she learned about the opportunity to have a high-quality school, a community that supports children in a better academic level, it was a beacon of hope.
No entendemos por qué el distrito está opuesto a esta nueva opción excelente. ¿Por qué tienen que salir más de 3,000 estudiantes de esta área para buscar una mejor escuela? ¿Por qué tendrá que hacer esto mi prima si no aceptan la aplicación de KIPP cuando la puede tener al alcance de sus manos?
We do not understand why the district is opposed to an excellent option. Why do more than 3,000 students they have to commute out of this area to look for a better school? Why will my cousin have to do this if you deny the KIPP application when it's possible to have KIPP within reach?
Queremos que los niños y jóvenes de Adams 14 tengan la oportunidad de tener una comunidad que los apoya como KIPP y que los ayuda a desarrollar sus habilidades a lo máximo.
We want the children and young people of Adams 14 to have the opportunity to have a supportive community like KIPP that helps and develops their potential to a maximum.
Está comprobado que esta área tiene muy poco rendimiento escolar. Entonces, ¿por qué no darles la oportunidad de mejorar el crecimiento académico y la comunidad escolar? Gracias.
It is proven that this area has too low of an academic quality. Why not giving them the opportunity to improve academic growth and the school community? Thank you.
Gabriela Rodríguez.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Abrego. I am Gabriela. I work as a community organizer with KIPP Colorado. I work for this organization because of my own experience in public education. The feeling of powerlessness and desperation I felt when I was going to graduate high school and struggle to make it to college is something that I work to prevent for families who have similar backgrounds to mine. KIPP believes in partnering with parents to design their schools and maintain the communities families want to be a part of. And I work to make sure that KIPP delivers on that promise. I have been working with parents in Commerce City to understand what their concerns are and what solutions they would like to see in their schools. Like all our schools, we want to provide an education in partnership with them. Parents have asked us to build a biliterate model, which we are doing, and we hope that all our students at school are biliterate by the time they are in 4th grade. Our parents want a biliterate model so that children will retain their language as an asset and will learn to honor their identity. Beyond the design process, our existing schools maintain family engagement in a variety of ways. Our community efforts are responsive to the needs and desires of each school. There is no one-size-fits-all in our efforts. For example, in Southwest Denver, our families are also requested a biliterate elementary school model for the same reasons as Commerce City parents. We built a model that teaches students to honor identity and to develop an appreciation for diversity and justice. Students with varying first languages are now developing Spanish literacy skills. Our monthly coffees with the school leaders and monthly family association meetings help us continue to meet family expectations. Our alumni enroll their children in our elementary schools, a testament of their satisfaction and loyalty to the education that they have received. In our Southwest Denver High School, we partner with Denver Urban Scholars to provide parenting workshops in order to support parents in meeting the social-emotional needs of their adolescents. I lead a club of student ambassadors. I have 18 students who choose their time in the afternoons with me to learn about advocacy and service learning. They learn how to represent themselves and their community in a positive way. My students have told me that this experiences changes their lives, and they learn how to take ownership of their journey and proudly share it with our stakeholders. We also strive to help families meet non-academic challenges that can interfere with a student's ability to perform. We provide workshops for families to learn their rights if they have family members with immigrant backgrounds. And every Thursday in Green Valley Ranch, our schools host a no-cost grocery program. Students need a full belly and access to healthy food to perform well academically. And our parents are able to provide that for them at no cost. Every week, we receive 1,500 pounds of fresh produce, and parent volunteers help us sort and distribute that food to all community members, regardless of whether they have a KIPSTER at their schools. The parents of Commerce City students have come up with so many wonderful ideas to support their communities. They want to partner with us and our networks because they want to do anything possible to create choiceful lives for their students. I hope that my partnership can continue with families in Commerce City. And I apologize in conclusion. I have testimonies from 2 parents who couldn't be here. And if I may approach the board, I would like to deliver these testimonies to you.
Please.
Thank you.
Thanks. You bet.
Timio Archuleta.
Well, my name's Timio Archuleta. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all for letting me speak to you. Thank you for your service. I'm not in support of KIP.
Excuse me. This is the portion that's for KIP. You have to come back for the public communication that's after this process, Mr. Archuleta.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. No, it's two separate hearings. One is for KIP. This is just for KIP. Then we're gonna have an audience comments next. That's separate. This is for just KIP for people. It's
Either or. Huh? It's for either or.
Either or, not for KIP or for KIP.
Correct.
Oh.
It's for
It's just a comment on
public to express their
concerns over the
But what,
opinion regarding
but then audience comments is separate.
that separate.
That's separate. Okay. Excuse me, Mr. Archuleta. I apologize. Please come up. And we'll start your 3 minutes from the beginning.
I didn't mean to disrupt the agenda for you.
No, I got it wrong, so I apologize.
I live at 5841 DeMott Avenue in Adams City. Was an Adams City alum here. Didn't graduate from Adams City High School, but I went to Adams City High School. I was a special education student when I was in grade school. The schools didn't fail me. You know, we have these meetings, these community meetings, and we hope that the community gets involved and comes, but they don't. So I'm here to speak on behalf of myself. I'm not going to speak for the community because apparently they don't want to come and speak for themselves. But I have 2 grandkids in they're great grandkids of mine in school here. Both of them are one is extremely well versed in school, and the other one is a SPED student. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
And I have concerns about SPED students especially. kids with a disability, without the correct ability to learn. And I know that our district takes all kids. Sure, the percentage may be only 14 kids, but it takes all kids. And all kids are able to go to school, and all kids deserve to go to school. When we cherry pick kids and we put them in a school, the gifted and talented kids already have the ability to learn. They already are ahead. I have a student, my grandson, who is autistic, who doesn't have that same ability. He learns. He's by no means incapable of learning. He learns, but he doesn't learn at the speed that's required of some of these other schools. Luckily, we have a district, Adams 14, that it takes all kids. Doesn't matter what you are. Doesn't matter what school you go to. Doesn't matter how talented you are. Doesn't matter anything. We take all kids. I get disappointed when you have this community meeting here, and I'm the only community member, apparently, who's going to speak against this. I hear the accolades and the claps and everything for support of this school. I hear people talking about what somebody else said about the school district. Where are they at? Come and say it yourself. What you need to say, come and say it yourself. Get involved in your kids' life. Please come and be involved. When I sat on the Board of Education up there, I couldn't make these kind of statements. But I can make these kind of statements as a community member, and I can make these kind of statements on behalf of my two students who are in. I can make these statements because I care about these kids in Adams City, in all of the district, from the grade school to wherever we need to get to, and I understand exactly what's going on. We're going to continue to cherry pick the good kids out of the public schools, and the public schools will never have an opportunity to flourish. I believe in a lot of the things that the Board of Education and the administration, the school district, the teachers, I believe in all of that stuff that they're trying to do to make these kids be able to graduate school. But I'm asking the parents, please get involved. Come here. Come to these meetings. I went to those meetings. I went to those meetings for KIP. 98 people out of 7,000. Kind of sad. Kind of sad that there's only a few community members here. And I'm not here because I'm trying to make a statement to the community members. If you dislike the school, let's hear about it. If there's something that's not working right, get involved. But they don't get involved. They don't come. They only want to complain. And there is an opportunity here, folks, for the community members to make a stand, to make a show, to say, yes, I support this, and no, I don't support this. But they're not here. You have all the KIP people here. You have all the people that work at KIP on behalf of KIP, but you don't have any community members. I know I'm out of time. So I'll stop there. But I'm not in support of it. Thank you, DAC, for doing your due diligence, and thank you, Superintendent, for doing your due diligence. And hopefully the Board of Education makes the right decision based on the kids in Adams City. Thank you.
Carolina Villagrana.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Brego. My name is Carolina Villagrana, and I'm here to support the KIP Colorado application. I'm currently the principal in residency and will be a future school leader at KIP Commerce City Academy. I'll do my remarks in Spanish because it relates to our work with families. Desde la última reunión de la Junta Escolar, estaba pensando cuando estaba en el tercero grado, a punto de ingresar al cuarto grado, acababa de recibir los resultados de mis exámenes del estado. Mi hermano arrebató el papel de mis manos cuando salíamos de la escuela con sus amigos. Enseguida, escuché a dos de los amigos de mi hermano. Más tarde aprendí de mi mamá que estaba en tercero grado con un nivel de primero grado. La escuela a la que yo había asistido por los 3 años me falló. Con solo 8 años de edad, sabía que la escuela a la que yo asistía no estaba haciendo lo suficiente y mi madre supo en ese momento tenía que hacer lo posible para ponerme en una escuela que hiciera todo lo posible para no solo alcanzar, sino también sobresalir dentro de mi desarrollo académico. Mi experiencia vivida es el motivo por el cual yo siento tanta pasión por este trabajo, porque ningún niño debe saber que su escuela le falló. Elegí trabajar en KIP Colorado Todos los adultos creen que cada niño es capaz de cumplir con las altas expectativas que establecemos para ellos, y todos los niños saben que nos comprometemos a proporcionar un ambiente seguro y damos apoyo donde los estudiantes puedan aprender, crecer y tener éxito. Esta comunidad merece un lugar donde pueden confiar en que sus hijos aprenderán que puedan tener una vida llena de oportunidades. Como líder de mi visión es una escuela donde tanto los maestros como las familias trabajan juntos para que los padres puedan definir la calidad de la instrucción, entender lo que sus hijos están aprendiendo y cómo pueden apoyar a sus hijos en la casa. Eso significa que los padres se comprometen a tener una participación activa en KIPP Commerce City Academy. Además, es fundamental que los padres sepan cómo defender a sus hijos cuando sea necesario, porque el tiempo que los hijos pasan en una clase es solo una pequeña parte de su carrera de aprendizaje. Y los padres pueden y deben tener una parte muy importante para garantizar una instrucción de alta calidad y toda una vida de aprendizaje. Para terminar, la meta nunca debe ser solo una escuela o 3 escuelas están sobresaliendo. Tiene que ser que todos los estudiantes aprendan y que todas las escuelas tengan éxito. Yo prometo que cada año y todos los días voy a cumplir la promesa de cada niño aprenderá, crezcan en KIPP Commerce City Academy. Agradezco la consideración del Consejo Escolar para la aplicación de KIPP Commerce City Academy y les pido que voten para aprobar la nueva escuela. Gracias.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Now, I do know you speak English. Do you mind interpreting what you said in English for us too, please?
Would love to.
Thank
Can
you.
I get my speech?
I'm sorry?
Can I get it, the one in English?
Yes.
Why can't you just take down?
I prefer Spanish, but I have it ready.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members of the board and Superintendent Abrego. My name is Carolina Villagrana. I'm here to speak in support of KIPP Colorado Schools' application to open a new charter school in Adams 14 School District. Since the last board meeting, I have been thinking of when I was in 3rd grade about to enter 4th grade. I had just received my test scores. The paper was pulled right out of my hands by my brother on our way out from school with his friends. I immediately heard gasps from my brother's friends. Later to find out from my mom, I was in 3rd grade performing at a 1st grade level. A school I attended for 3 years failed me. At just 8 years old, I knew the school I went to was not doing enough. My mother knew at that moment she needed to do everything she could to place me in a school that would do everything they could to not only catch me up, but excel within my academics. My lived experience is why I am so passionate about the work, because no child should ever have to know that a school failed them. I chose to work at KIPP Colorado because every adult believes that every child is capable of meeting the high expectations we set for them, and every child knows that we commit to providing a safe, supportive environment where they can learn, grow, and succeed. The community serves a place where they can trust that their children will learn so they may have a life full of opportunity. As a leader, I envision a school where both staff and families alike partner together so parents can define what quality instructions look like, understand what their child is learning, and how they can support their child at home. This means that parents will have an active role at KIPP Commerce City Academy. Additionally, it is critical for parents to know how to advocate for their children when needed, because the time that students spend in any one class is just a small portion of their learning career. And parents can and should play a key role in ensuring high-quality instruction and a lifetime of learning. In closing, the goal should never be only for one school or 3 schools to do well. It has to be all students to learn and for all schools to achieve. I commit every year and every day to fulfill the promise that every child will learn and grow at KIPP Commerce City Academy. I appreciate the board's thoughtful consideration of the charter application for KIPP Commerce City Academy, and I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicholas Martinez.
Excuse me. Good evening, Board of Education members and Superintendent Abrego. Again, my name is Nicholas Martinez, and I am the co-founder of Transform Education Now, whose mission is to support underserved communities as they demand for better educational opportunities for their children. I am here tonight to recommend that this board approve the charter application for KIPP Colorado Commerce City Academy, as well as to endorse the community school model that has been proposed by the local teachers of this district to improve its current schools. We believe that this district can have both KIPP Colorado Academy, Commerce City Academy, and a community school, one that reflects the values of the community it serves, in addition to the community school model being proposed by the teachers here in this district. I believe in the community school model. It makes sense that teachers and staff would be integrated into this community. That means making home visits, spending time in the kitchens of the families they serve, and listening to their needs. We want our teachers providing wraparound services and academic support for our students who need it the most. We want our staffs to know the parents of the students and those same parents to be welcomed and a consistent presence in their children's class. As a former teacher, and I know all of you would agree, that partnerships between families and schools are critical. We hope that this will actually commit to providing its quality teachers a well-earned raise with the money of the passage from Amendment 73, as well as providing additional opportunities for coaching and professional learning. Great teachers are fundamental to this work, and we are committed as an organization to supporting teacher development in Adams 14. We also believe that the whole child supports that are at the core of schools like KIPP Colorado. We have seen firsthand when students have their most basic needs met, breakfast every single morning, social and emotional needs provided for by full-time social workers to look after their mental health, that they are able to thrive in the classroom. KIPP has a full-time social worker, a director of health and wellness, and 2 teachers in every classroom. They have a free fresh produce program for families in the far northeast who live in a food desert. They host DACA resource nights for students. Their character development was developed by some of the best developmental psychologists in the country. Their families are in their schools. They have a resource center where parents can come and use computers, printers, and a space for siblings to play. They follow their students for 6 years to support them to and through college. Not only have they built a community school, they have student outcomes that would change the lives of students in this district. Keep in mind that 1 out of 10 students will graduate from Adams 14 ready for college. KIPP Denver Collegiate High School was named one of the best high schools in Denver and the 2nd best high school in Colorado. Last year, one of KIPP's schools had the highest reading growth in the state. That data matters. That matters to teachers, that matters to families, and most of all, that matters to students. Kids leave KIPP schools with more opportunities to follow their dreams. 9 out of 10 KIPP students go to college. KIPP students received over $8 million in scholarship to attend college last year, and I bet everyone here can think of a student whose life would change with that kind of opportunity. This is not an either-or decision. We can have both, a school that is a partner to the district and serves kids now, and a new model that works to improve its current schools. A partnership like this could drastically change the reality for kids in this community for generations, but only if you act in the best interest of children. Transform Education Now stands here alongside this community who has said loud and clear that they support Commerce City Academy, and that we recommend that you vote yes to approve the charter application. Thank you for your time.
Amanda Gonzalez.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Abrego. My name is Amanda Gonzalez. I'm an educator and a parent of 6 children who attend Adams 14 schools. I'm also an assistant principal at KIPP Northeast Denver Middle School, and I want to talk about my experiences as such, as someone who has taught in Adams 14 and as a parent in this district. I believe I offer a unique perspective about what KIPP Commerce City Academy could offer to our community. Throughout the application process, I've heard questions about whether KIPP educates students with special needs. I've also heard from some in this district who have claimed that we do not serve students with special needs. the person charged with overseeing our special education program at my school, who also sits on the Denver Public Schools Special Education Task Force, and who holds a special education administrative license from CDE, I can assure you that KIPP educates all students, and our IEP numbers are on par with national averages. In fact, I was drawn to KIPP from Adams 14 because of the effective needs center-based programming. I would not stay with KIPP if we cherry-picked. This year, the AN program that I oversee has successfully integrated 85% of our students into the general education environment as a research-based practice. These students continue to receive individualized supports and are growing academically, and their social emotional growth is greater than they have previously experienced. It is no wonder that parents from KIPP or from Commerce City who have students with special needs have chosen to come to KIPP. Another reason I decided to move to KIPP as an educator was the amount of professional development that every person receives. It starts with a rigorous and thorough hiring process, and with up to 3 full-time weeks of training and development before the school year even starts. It continues throughout the year with coaches, consistent observation and feedback, and an early release day each week when teachers gather by grade level and subject area to ensure that all students are learning and growing. Working at KIPP has been a life-changing experience for me, and I've grown professionally and personally. I've taken part in leadership development programs and have been trusted to develop systems and policies that support all students, specifically students with special education needs and emerging bilinguals. At KIPP Commerce City Academy, I will be on the leadership team and would be thrilled to be able to welcome students from my home here in Commerce City to a KIPP school in our neighborhood. So tonight, let me add my voice to the parents who have called for a new, high-quality school option in our community. And let me represent those parents who were too afraid to speak tonight for fear of retribution from the entrenched interests in this district. Listen to the parents' stories, hear their experiences, understand the urgency of their demand, and approve this application for the students, for their families, and for all of us who want to see our community finally thrive. Our children will receive the education that they are given access to. Thank you.
Laura Martinez.
Good evening, members of the board and superintendent. I was trying to write something, but I decided to talk from my heart. Like I said, my name is Laura Martinez. I am a parent of 3 Adams 14 students, a graduate of the district and a DU alumna. Last year, as my oldest child began kindergarten, I had several concerns. Instead of complaining, I chose to take responsibility and do something about it. Because if I don't advocate for my children, who will? Since then, dozens of parents and teachers have been organizing. We have been able to extend the biliteracy program, reinstate recess, and parent-teacher conferences, and more importantly, unite the community to take action. I have seen the power of strength and the commitment our parents have to improve our district. We know you're about to make a decision that will impact over 7,500 of our children. One thing that we do want to remind you is that what's best interest for them, that we need to consider how can we make our district better. Is it okay to bring someone out from the outside to come and make the decisions and the choices for us, or us that live in the community, that participate, that are the prime stakeholders, the parents, the children, the students, you members that live here in Commerce City, to actually understand what our children need? And yes, we have been on the turnaround clock for 8 years, but I think now we have been advanced at a significant level within the last year, and we have everything in our resources. We have the resources, we have the commitment, we have the power to make the change in our district instead of having someone else come and make that decision for us. So before you make your final decision, please consider if we, as a board, as a district, as a community, can make those changes within our own district, instead of having someone else tell us what we can and what we can't do. I don't think we need Superman to come and can rescue us. I think we can rescue ourselves because that's how powerful we are. As a graduate, I know that we have so many things to offer to our students. I have so many teachers that I have met that are in love with our students, that do everything they can to make sure that they are learning. If we work together as a community and as a district, as parents and students working together, I know we can make this district one of the best in the state. We have everything here. We don't need someone else to come and tell us what we already know that we can do and we can achieve. We have 2 Adams City graduates right here. We have college graduates. If we can do it, everyone else can. So I implore you, before you make your decision, think about the things that we can do within our district to make sure that those changes take effect and that we can become the district that I know we can become. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to officially close the public hearing for KIPP Charter School. Moving on to audience comments. If there is audience comments, I'll only read a brief portion. Before we start the audience comments, I would like to share highlights Board Policy BEDH. I'm not going to go into details about all this. And everybody knows. Monica, call the first person up, please. Everybody, come on, let's be adults.
Timmy Archuleta.
Thank you for your time again. You know, I didn't know which card to fill out, so I made the audience card. Well, I made both cards because I didn't know which one I could actually speak on. But I'm just asking the community members who are not here, because I know they're going to see this on TV, to please get involved in your kids' life. There's some important decisions that this Board of Education gets to make. There's some important decisions that the superintendent gets to make, and that DAC. Thank you, DAC, once again for your hard work, doing your due diligence and trying to figure out everything. But I just want to tell you that I know you don't hear it from a lot of people out there, but I, as a community member, want to thank you for your service. I know it's gratis. I know that you don't get paid a penny for it. It upsets me when I read comments that are out there on Facebook. I hear people talking, and it's not all people. It's only some people. You know, I'm kind of disheartened that the community isn't involved more in these decisions. At least come and listen, whether you speak or not, come and listen. But I just want to tell you, I support you guys, and keep up the good work, because the kids deserve it. The kids deserve it. The parents are going to do what they're going to do. The schools are going to do what they're going to do. But the kids deserve you guys to make all the decisions you can possibly on their behalf. So thank you.
Regina Hurtado.
Good evening. I'm actually here on a lighter note. I would love to invite every single one of you to the Allsup Fall Festival on Friday. It's our 8th annual, and it grows every single year. Last year we had about 600 people in attendance, and I would especially love to thank Harvest for volunteering to open his trunk and pass out candy to 600 little trick-or-treaters. I emailed everybody the flyer so we could save on paper, but I hope to see everybody there Friday at Allsup. It's 5 o'clock. Thank you. Yes.
I'll wait.
Jorge Garcia.
Good evening. My name is Jorge Garcia. I live in the St. Vrain School District. We've heard the report from Team Tipton regarding the dysfunction in this district. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's time to do the right thing. Tipton's insights and recommendations make it clear that the dysfunction is centered around not structures, but people. I particularly like their attitude that there are some things that might be designated as due now, where we can't wait for 2 years. I address one of those issues and suggest that you do something now. That issue is transparency, as it conflicts with the overwhelming number of secret meetings, executive sessions that this board convenes. For example, at the last board meeting, prior to going into executive session, Dr. Hyde rightfully requested that the topic, not just the legal citation of the executive session, be given to the public. Jonathan Firo, one of the district's attorneys, begrudgingly said, contractual issues. Which contract? We don't know. Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6-402 states that the board may go into executive session, quote, upon announcement by the public body to the public of the topic for discussion in the executive session. It goes on to say, quote, identification of the particular matter to be discussed in as much detail as possible without compromising the purpose for which the session is authorized. And the law specifically states, quote, no adoption of any proposed policy, position, resolution, rule, regulation, or formal action shall occur at any executive session that is not open to the public. That's the law. That's what's right. This board improperly took a position and formal action regarding biliteracy in an executive session. It's not what you did, it's how you did it. That discussion, including the decision, should have been held in an open meeting, and therefore you should release a recording of the meeting to the public so that we can understand the who, what, where, when, why, and how of the decision. When questioned by the media, Mr. Rolla said that it was okay because the decision was reached by consensus. Well, that's wrong. The law is clear. Whether it's by consensus, hands in the air, nod or wink, it doesn't matter. You took formal action in a secret meeting. A specific legal question could have been, can we legally issue a directive regarding curriculum to the superintendent? The answer is quick, yes. The question, should we unpause the biliteracy program, is not at all about legal advice. Transparency is critical to trust. If what you are getting from your attorney, Jonathan Firo, is ways to get around the letter in the spirit of the law, then I suggest that he's part of the problem, not part of the solution, part of that dysfunction that Team Tipton referenced. You want better? Then you must do the right thing, legally and ethically, and do it now. Thank you.
Oh, stay right there. Stay
Yes,
right
sir.
there. I'm going to do something ethically and legally. Mr. Farrow, will you please let Mr. Jorge understand why we went into executive session? Because it was contractual about the contracts. So can you explain to him about the executive session we went into by biliteracy?
Mr. Chair, I can't disclose anything that was discussed in executive session without approval of the Board of Education.
See? So, I was trying to be upfront and honest with you that we didn't go back there and did nothing illegal or nothing. So,
I have a copy of the statute if you'd like to read it. It's clear in the law and in the case law also. So you can ask a different attorney perhaps.
no,
That might be the way to go. Thank you for listening and thank you for trying.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That is it. There are no more audience comments this evening. We will now move into routine items. I need a motion to accept consent items 1.1 Superintendent Recommendation, Personnel Actions.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 1.0, personnel, superintendent's recommendation.
Mine is off.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, Monica, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. Business. 1.1, resolution, superintendent recommendation, resolution number 18-013. A resolution authorized the execution and delivery of a site lease, a lease purchase agreement, and related documents by the district, approving the forms, related documents, and providing for other matters relating thereto.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 1.1, resolution 18-0013.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, Monica.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. Resolution item 1.2. I need a motion for approval for resolution 18-014. A resolution authorizing the state of Colorado building excellent schools today, site lease of district. The state of Colorado building excellent schools today to sublease the district a tax compliance certificate and other documents and action related thereto.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 1.2, resolution number 18-014.
Second.
Is there discussion? No discussion. Roll call, Monica, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. Resolution item 1.3. I need a motion for approval of resolution number 18-015, proclamation of November Homeless and Runaway Youth Awareness Month.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 1.3, resolution number 18-015.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Vice Chair, is excuse me, just 1 minute, please. Mr. Vice Chair, it says in the resolution that we hereby commit to develop an adequate plan for providing the youth, What kind of a commitment are we prepared to make?
Superintendent, can you answer a question, please?
I think we have a commitment to help all our students that are homeless. We make sure that they are enrolled in schools. We help them through that process. Also, if they have any need items, we help them with those also, as far as need items for school, and even going further to make sure that we can place them properly if it's adequate.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. Under policy item 2.1, I need a motion to approve policy JICDE-revised, bullying prevention and educational discussion and first reading for immediate implementation per policy BG.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question about this item, if I may.
Be under discussion.
We need a vote for a motion and second first.
Need a motion. You don't, no motion.
You call it motion?
Yes, I need a motion.
I move that we adopt 2.1.
Second.
Second.
Is there discussion? Yes, Senator Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious, the language that we're adding, and I think it's good that we're calling out characteristics of students that are protected by federal and state law, including disability, race, creed, color, sex, sex orientation, national origin, religion, etc. The standard language at the state level calls out sexual orientation and gender identity, so I'm wondering why that was left out.
I'm sorry, I can't answer it. Is there, Sheila, is there someone that worked on this for us?
If it's something that you would like included,
Get at it.
you could put it out there to request inclusion of that language as well. The actual policy is directly from CASB's sample policies. And so if you feel strongly to add that language, you could present that to the board for inclusion as well.
Mr. Vice Chair, since the question,
Just a moment.
I withdraw my motion. You haven't called, the chair hasn't called the questions, and so I am entitled to with,
Right,
as
but-
the first motion.
But the senator is still talking. Hold on, let him finish
Oh,
talking,
okay.
then you can jump in. Let him finish talking.
So I appreciate that explanation, Monica. I would like to add the language gender identity to follow sexual origin. I don't know if that needs to be a formal motion. If so, I move to include gender identity to follow sexual orientation in policy JICDE, bullying prevention and education.
Mr. Vice Chairman, point of information. We have a motion on the floor, and we have to dispose of that first before we take a second motion. And what we've done in the past is have the person making the first motion, if it has not been called, has the privilege of withdrawing the motion so that my colleague can then move ahead with his proposal.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
So there's two courses of action for you. Since Dr. Hyde's motion was seconded, the motion officially belongs to the body as a whole, the board, so it would require all the board members here to agree that it would be withdrawn, and if everyone is okay with that, and you can just, ask for consent to that, then he could withdraw it. Alternatively, you have a motion and a second. Board Member Moreno can move to modify that motion, and then it would then modify it, and then that if he has you would immediately take a second discussion and then a vote on the modification. If that passes, then you could then take up the modified motion. So there's two ways you could do it.
Mr. Farrow, are you saying that you can have one motion up for discussion and then introduce a second one without disposing of the first?
Because the second one modifies the first.
Supersedes the first. So, are we going to agree to what y'all want to do with Dr. Hyde's? Or do you want to keep it? What you want to do?
I think it's simpler to revoke the first one, withdraw the first motion. And I thought my understanding is even though a second has been made, as long as the chair has not called the question for a vote, the person who first made the proposal has the privilege of withdrawing it.
Yep. Dr. Hyde, that's not my understanding. It is certainly the maker's privilege before it's been seconded, but once it's been seconded, technically, I believe it belongs to the body as a whole, and that would require consent. But it sounds like if no one objects to that, and that's what you prefer to do, you could go that route, and then someone else or yourself could make a new motion that would perhaps address the additional language that Board Member Moreno wants in the policy.
But hold on, I got a question myself. If Senator Moreno, if we in discussion and he's making changes, what is the difference? If he's making changes during the policy on the first reading, you just want to take it out? I'm just.
Yeah, there really isn't a difference unless for some reason someone were to say, no, I object to having his motion withdrawn. I mean, that.
No, I'm just trying to make it.
I want to get his language. I'm supporting the addition of his language, and I'd be happy to do it. However, is the easiest way forward.
That's the easiest way, because we're in discussion, and because this is the first reading. So, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In that case, I move to amend the original motion to add the words gender identity follows sexual orientation in policy JICDE.
Second.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
A suggestion. Could you clarify, Board Member Moreno, are you moving to adopt 2.1 with the amendment that you just read?
That's correct.
Okay. And is that your second, Mr. Rolla?
Yes.
Any discussion on that amendment? Let's vote on.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. This entire thing is to put it in our policy in compliance with the new state law. Is that right?
Mr. Senator Moreno's saying that state law has certain things that we don't have in ours, so he'd like to add those criteria into ours.
Right. Okay, thanks.
So now we can vote on the amendment. Roll call, Monica.
Dr. Hyde.
Aye.
Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
Mr. Rolla.
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye. Now we vote on Dr. Hyde's.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Mr. Chair?
We done?
You're done. You
Thank
just
you.
adopted the
Okay.
policy with Board Member Moreno's amendments to it.
Good. Under grant item 3.1, I need a motion for approval to apply for empowering action for school improvement grant for the Colorado Department of Education.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 3.1.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde.
Aye.
Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
Mr. Rolla.
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye. Grant item 3.2, I need a motion for approval to accept funds for Incredible Years Dinosaur School for Invest in Kids grant.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 3.2.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde.
Aye.
Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
Mr. Rolla.
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye. Under other, item 4.1, I need a motion for approval to increase purchase limit with vendors, school solution.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 4.1.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde.
Aye.
Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
Mr. Rolla.
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye. Item 4.8, I need a motion for approval to increase the table of authorized personnel by 1.0 full-time employee for the communication department.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 4.2.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Vice Chair, is the there currently are two managers, one for strategic planning and one for family and community. And is Mr. Sanchez in any capacity employed directly or indirectly in one of those or any of those positions?
No names.
Well, I need to.
Yeah. But Superintendent, can you answer that question for Dr. Hayes?
If you, under the current staffing, Mr. Sanchez is no longer the manager for us. And then the other position also that was held by another individual, that person is also gone.
So we're taking the family and community manager and splitting it into two, one for the family engagement and one for community engagement.
That's correct.
And I thought that Mr. Sanchez was in the strategic planning slot.
That position, the position that those two individuals would be replacing the other gentleman, the other manager.
So there will be no strategic planner.
We don't have someone in that position right now.
Are you okay? So you're going to maintain that vacancy, or are you eliminating that position?
No, we're not going to eliminate it. We're going to be filling it down the line.
Okay, that comes later. So right now it's just vacant. Okay, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. Item 4.3, I need a motion for approval of purchase HP Chromebooks and carts to support Beyond Textbook contract.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 4.3.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have one question on this. And I know we received some previous information about this item at our retreat. I guess what I'm wondering is there's currently some schools that don't have enough Chromebooks to fully utilize the BT, Beyond Textbooks, considering that the state performance review team came out, identified that Adams City High School should fully implement Beyond Textbooks. Will Adams City be prioritized then to receive Chromebooks so that we can hopefully get that technology to all the students?
They were a priority. I believe that when we first started with the Chromebooks, we made sure that all the 9th grade and 10th grade students were able to receive those.
Mr. Vice Chair, does this acquisition complete our purchasing program of Chromebooks?
Superintendent, can you answer that question, please?
I do have two people here, but I'm pretty sure that that is the last order, so that will complete everything. Yes. The answer is yes.
Thank you.
And my questions, how many Chromebooks are we ordering in carts, please?
I believe the numbers are there.
Yeah, on this we're purchasing 665 Chromebooks and 18 laptop carts. So that completes the initial the $1 million that the board approved. I believe it was last year for Chromebooks for Beyond Textbooks. So that will complete the order down to we'll have a couple $100 left over.
You said it completes the acquisition program or the authorized program. Is there stage 2?
So we've done this in 3 phases just to complete purchases in a way that we can support and deploy. If I ordered $1 million worth of Chromebooks, it'd take me forever to deploy them, so we did this in phases. So this is phase 3. What this completes then is for the most part, we'll be short a few units, which we're going to pull. We'll make it work. But that should get us essentially grades 3 through 12 for the most part. That does not complete anything for pre-K through 2. and we'll need to kind of revisit that in a longer-term technology plan.
Do we have a,
Sheila wanted me to clarify that for pre-K and through 2, we've determined that Chromebooks are really age appropriate for those students. So we'll be looking at alternate methods for them.
so what is the time frame for these Chromebooks to get out into the district?
So if we were to place the order this week, dependent upon delivery timeframes, let's say we get them within the first couple weeks of November, and I would hope, ideally, we'll have them out shortly after the Christmas. So that gives us a couple months to put all that work together.
And do you got enough staff to help you?
Make it work. Yeah.
Okay. Because I visited, was it DuPont Monday?
Mm-hmm.
And I had the opportunity to, board policy, go through classrooms and observations of first graders. So a lot of those desktop computers does not work.
Yes, sir.
On those first graders in those classrooms at DuPont.
Yeah, and I spoke with Ms. Almeida about that today. So I think there was some miscommunication, and I'll be happy to speak with you you'd like about those, but I know the experience that you had in those rooms. Just for your own understanding, we do have the capital reserve budget or general fund referendum. I always get confused on exactly which budget it's called. But technology services receives a certain amount of money every year. One of the things we've targeted this year is old desktops. So the units that you experienced this year are definitely going to get looked at. They're replaced directly with desktops, or if we look at, being that's a first grade classroom, putting some iPads in that room if it makes more sense. But we're planning on working with the schools directly to figure out what that looks like.
Because normally I make a big fuss, but I didn't make a big fuss this time. I went to the assistant principal, and I stayed in my lane this time. But since we're talking about technology, I'm out my lane. So if you go in the classroom and you see students getting ready to cut on technology computers and they don't work, and it's only 3 computers in the classroom, and those 3 computers don't work in that particular first grade classroom, I think there's an issue.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how that issue, and I get my Friday updates, and this is not taking it out on you, but as board members, we get Friday updates. And if I read my Friday updates and I see staff do walkthroughs throughout this district, and I go to a school that I'm assigned to, and I go through that school and visit the students and staff, and I can see first grade, 3 out of 3 computers, laptops don't work, 4 out of 6 not working, and what was the other one? 1 out of 3 not working. So how are they not noticing these laptops not working for these students? If I can see this in less than 30 minutes, and that's the first class I go through, is going down the first hallway at DuPont. So that kind of threw me off, but like again, I stayed in my lane. I'm doing board policy, instructional learning, listening, and when you don't have students that don't have the proper utensils for us that we going through, and you listen to the CDE saying what we not providing, we don't have, and what we don't have, and we know that we can get. And I'm listening to 600 Chrome computers, and I got some first graders over there at DuPont having trouble with some laptops. There's an issue going around here. And I'm talking to you because I know you're in technology, but It's not directed towards you. It's directed towards the superintendent because that's his job. He's the only person that the Board of Education hires. So thank you for all you do for our district.
I don't mind being the rubber band here for a second. So quickly, I don't go through on the walkthroughs.
I
Those are
understand
mostly
that.
instructional. I will say that we received a ticket on one of those classrooms last year that was addressed at that time. But any issues that have this year with that particular classroom, especially one where none of them worked, there has been no ticket to my team submitted for that. So I've already spoken with Pat. We've spoken with Brian from DuPont, and we'll address those issues as soon as we can. But please know that it is budgeted this year to address some of those classrooms. So
Right.
that will be taken care of.
But it's still a concern to me,
Absolutely.
you know, that we keep hearing that there's no money and we just approving these Chrome computers. I don't understand how come we don't have no laptops going into these students.
Separate budgets for this particular purchase. So this was specifically targeted on textbooks. The board stated or put aside $1 million for that. The particular budget that we're working with this year, we've got a sizable purchase that we need to take care of, which is the phone system for every building. Once that purchase is put through an RFP and we know what it's going to cost, that will give me the amount of money that I have remaining for my current budget to then allocate towards the schools to replace that technology.
So if I sound like I'm beating a dead horse. So I'm hearing telephones is important, and I got first graders that don't have. I got telephones over here that's important for the district, and I got first graders at DuPont that don't have laptop computers in their classrooms that don't work. But the phones is important, but laptop computers is for my third graders in the class don't work.
I understand.
Whoo!
So I've got a phone system that is older than some of the students that will graduate this year.
Yeah.
So we have to prioritize where that money goes, and I completely understand where you're at. We'll do what we can to accelerate some of that and try and get those specific items that you've seen, especially through walkthroughs and whatnot. But as Sheila kindly reminded me, there is a school budget that can help alleviate some of those issues as well.
No,
Mr. Thomas, with the system, that's our means of safety and communication, which is why it makes it a priority because of the intercom system that we utilize through the phones. That's how the front office communicates through the buildings, and so it's necessary that all of those are working, and because of the age of our current system, they're functioning, and that's why we need to replace it. The schools have their general fund budgets where they can also allocate funds for items in their buildings such as headphones, desktop computers, iPads that they may have or have a need for that they can use at their discretion in addition to what comes through our technology budget as it's a replacement for them. So they have the ability to purchase those as they walk through their own buildings to determine needs that they have, and we're here as a technology department to help support ordering and the requests that they provide to us.
thank you, Ms. Burke.
You're welcome.
Thank you all. Monica, roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mr. Rolla,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye. Item 4.6, I need a motion for approval to purchase upgrades for Tyler Technologies.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 4.6.
Second.
Is there any discussion? No discussion. Roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mr. Rolla,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye. Item 4.7, I need a motion for approval for out-of-state travel to Chicago, Illinois, for music conference.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 4.7.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. 4.1, I need a motion for approval for overnight travel to Keystone, Colorado by Kearney Middle School Counseling Department.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 4.8.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Vice Chair, this apparently has already occurred. Date indicates October 17 through 19, 2018.
Superintendent, can you answer that question?
I'll try the best I can. The request did not come through our office, and it also did not go through curriculum instruction. So I believe that they were on break. This was during the break, and they happened to go during that time. So we have talked to Dr. Patterson, make sure that we address this with the principals and make sure that they follow the correct policy.
So was this a last-minute decision?
No. It just didn't go through the proper channels.
Oh, okay. Okay, and so you'll try to watch out for that in the future.
Yes.
Sure.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. 4.9, I need a motion for approval of the contract with Tennyson Center to provide educational and therapeutic interventions for students with significant emotional disabilities.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 4.9.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I think we voted for some monies for Tennyson Center last year, and so is this for increased costs due to the program, or is this increased cost due to more students needing these services?
This is an increase due to the needs of the students that are placed there. They're requiring some additional services.
How many students do we have there?
At Tennyson, we have 2 currently.
Currently, and the 45 grand is for these 2 students or for?
For the 2 students that are there and the additional cost that they have.
Okay. Thanks.
Steady, Dr. Hyde. Roll call, please, Monica.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Aye. Item 4, I need a motion for approval of the contract with AdHer Healthcare for professional service of licensed speech and language pathology assistants.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 4.10.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Vice Chair, I wanted to, this both 4.10 and 4.11, I think, raise an issue. It seems like our district, you know, and maybe other districts as well, has a problem getting professional or healthcare providers, and the text here says that, you know, we've advertised for some of these positions for a long time without getting any applicants or any qualified applicants, and so then we're resorting to, I guess these are they're private providers that have in-house staff that they farm out to us, or are they like a search agency that tries to find employees for us? And I think this has come up before, and I'm still kind of got it rattling around in the back of my head here as to how we solve this problem.
The agencies that we're working with, we're currently in discussion with 8 different agencies and trying to help us meet some of our needs with our mental health staff and our speech and language pathologists, because there's a nationwide shortage. This is a contract company, a search company basically, that have individuals who do not necessarily want to work for an organization. They enjoy moving around and just working when they choose to work.
Could you please give Dr. Hyde your name and your title in the district, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Shay Carter, the Director of Student Services.
Okay, thanks.
And,
Yeah, so that's good.
And I have a question. Dr. Hyde has brought this up several times, and I prefer if he can have a sit-down meeting with the department and find out, in detail what's what, or, what would you like, Dr. Hyde? Because it seems like this is about the third time every time this come up, you ask this question. So.
Third time's the charm. I've got it. I'm okay. Thank you, though, for your
No, I'm just trying to help.
for me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Well, we are always available to meet
Okay,
and
yeah.
discuss.
I'll keep it in mind. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Monica, roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. 4.11, I need a motion for approval to contract with ProCare Therapy Incorporated for the professional service licensed school social worker.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of item 4.3, or 4.11.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Monica, roll call, please.
Dr. Hyde?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye. Just a moment, please.
I knew it. Take your money.
Or 3 dates, and we can try some of these items. Just to make just read all of these requests, and then if it's easier, just to come up with 2 dates.
Almost time to adjourn, isn't it?
Ooh, done. There's something they added. Did you
All right. Thank you, Monica.
Except
Halloween.
the also one.
It's Friday.
Also would have to be. This could be. And they're not available. Wednesday and Thursday also. For the that's one of the.
listed on here? You say Thursday and Friday. All right, we got some dates we got to pick, Jeff. You ready? Communication. Dr. Abrego is requesting time. Oh, excuse me. Dr. Abrego is requesting time with the board to share the State Board of Education draft proposal between the dates. I'm going to go slow on the dates. Thursday, October 25th. Monday, October 20th. The staff will like to take the input and adjust our draft proposal prior to Tuesday, October 30th, as we would like to meet with stakeholders for the second meeting on Wednesday, October 31st, and submit the final to CDE on Thursday, November 1st. Which works best for the board in time.
So can I remind the board that there is a special meeting, executive session, already scheduled at 4 o'clock this Thursday, which is the 25th?
Okay. So we have basically the 29th.
And so, but if you want to add on, you all will be here already on Thursday. Add on the state board conversation to that executive session and have a study session after that.
So that should be.
Did I confuse you?
I'm good.
Okay.
You good? Y'all understand?
It would just
Thursday.
extend the time
Thursday
that
we
you-
got a executive session at 4 o'clock.
And that's scheduled for 2 hours, is that correct?
That's 2 hours. Then after that, 2 hours at 6, saying we have the study session, the draft proposal. So at 6 o'clock. Does that fit for you? No?
I can make it work.
Sure?
I prefer if we came in earlier, but if that's not possible, I can stay later.
So I can't come earlier. But y'all can come earlier. If y'all come earlier, I'll just get here at 4 and make the draft proposal. How that sound? At 2? Y'all come at 2? Mr. Roller?
Does that work for you, John?
I'm available.
Dr. Hyde?
2 o'clock on the 25th?
Right.
Okay.
Is that good with you, Mr. Roller?
That means I can only play 9 holes, but yeah.
All right. So 2 o'clock, and that's the executive session for 2 o'clock. And then the proposal at 4.
Okay.
So I'll make the proposal. All right.
What was the date on that? That was
Thursday, the 25th.
The 25th.
It's Thursday.
All right. There is a need for the board to hold a study session to discuss the first cycle of progress monitoring to have the data walk. How come they can't do it that 5th too? Can y'all do that the 25th? Can they do that the 25th?
That's Wednesday.
Right. Try to get it all.
Thursday, the 25th.
What time?
6,
right?
2 to 6.
Stacking the other.
Yeah, 2 to
we
6.
should-
Yeah,
that
get
should
it.
be plenty of time. I
Yeah,
would
2 to
think.
6. Get that data too. The walkthrough.
Is it likely that the first two are going to take The full time allotted, 2 hours?
Yeah, with you, yeah. You get to talking, it's gonna be 2 hours. Especially when you see what it's about, you gonna roll. So
So we want to piggyback that on at 6 o'clock.
6, yeah. So that'd be the data at 6.
What day is that?
Same day.
Thursday?
So you're gonna get your other 9 holes in here.
So what'll happen, what will happen is the study session, the items will just be listed without any time allotted. So that way you could move from one item to another without depending on time restrictions.
All right. So they can put stuff in both, or have it up however y'all want it.
Yeah, so once you finish your state board presentation or proposal presentation, and once that conversation is done, you can move right into the data.
The data, okay, thank you. I got one more. No. Here we go. There's also a need for the board to hold a study session, review information on Alsop Architect and the best timeline period to the next regular board meeting. That's will be held at Alsop. Now, these dates Alsop cannot have is Alsop October 31st and November the 1st. So any dates after November 1st fit y'all calendar. Or you retired?
That's it, retired.
I also mentioned I spoke with Principal Menard, and she said that next Tuesday would also work, that fit their schedule if it worked for the board too, which would be the 30th.
Did she give a time?
It's the,
She didn't give a time, but probably
That's Halloween.
their Tuesday was free. Tuesday night.
that's the 30th, right? How that look? What time? The 30th?
They're free all night on the 30th.
How you looking?
I assume maybe 4 o'clock,
30th, October
4:30.
30th.
Okay.
We good.
4:30?
No, we haven't got a time, but the 30th.
Well, depends on the time.
What time you got? What time is good?
Not midday.
No. It have to be 4:30? 4:30?
Would you rather it be 5 to make sure more community members could come if they're getting off work at 4? Make sure
5 o'clock.
5.
You can set refreshments up at 5 to 5:30.
Start the presentation at
And
5.
start at 5:45, 5:30. Have refreshments for the families and stuff. So we do 5 o'clock to 5:45 refreshments. Yeah.
5:30?
5:30, yeah. So October the 30th, 5 to 5:30. And then that's refreshments, and then they're going to start the presentation. And it's at Alsop, right?
Correct.
All right, we got another one. How would the board prefer to review the UIP plan? Either study session preferably or a board meeting? There's no dates on here, Monica.
No, that'll be up to the board.
It's up to us.
Our timeline to get that completed is before winter break.
When is
So
win-
we have some time.
when is winter break?
The end of December. Mhm.
Each school 5 minutes presentation, that's short.
Or we could do either individual presentations, back-to-back principals, or like you did the data walk, but instead have principals here and board members go around the room.
What's a good day? Mr. Senator Moreno. Let's go in November, the first, let's go second week in November. Before the next board meeting is November the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
What about Wednesday, the 7th? Is that good? You're not golfing? Mr. Roller?
I'm retired.
That's the 7th? Is that good for you?
Is that a DAC meeting?
Is that a
Is
DAC?
that a DAC meeting day?
That's the 14th, DAC the 14th, the 7th.
Okay.
Is it good for you, Senator? The 7th? Y'all got a time? 4 o'clock? 4:15? 4 o'clock?
Clock's great.
4 o'clock. Monica, November the 7th, 4 o'clock. Is that good for you? Is that good for you?
How much time?
How much time would that? 2 hours, 3 hours? 2, 3?
I would say 2 hours.
2 hours, 2.5 at the most.
At 5?
You get here at 5? Okay. Are they going to provide us with their UIP plans prior so we can have read them?
Probably.
Yeah, we need that, and hopefully not the day before, like a week before, since it's so many.
I'll
Thank
let
you.
them know. What do you prefer? Principals presenting or principals around the room and you going to the stations?
I like principals presenting.
Okay.
That's
Mr.
what
Chair?
I prefer principals presenting.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, just a suggestion. That's really close to the district's presentation to the State Board of Education the following week. So you might want to ask staff if that presents any kind of a, if doing this that week before will affect the ability of the district to present its best information to the State Board.
All right. So we come up with another date if that's,
If it's an inconvenience, I'll let you know.
okay, so you want us to give you another date then if it's inconvenient?
Let's
I think if we could look at a date after we do the State Board presentation, because we've got to do some preparation, we also with the Colorado Department of Education with them, so
How about
if you
the
could,
21st?
That's the day before Thanksgiving. Huh? What? No.
We're here.
What about combining it with the auditor presentation on the 19th?
About November? Combine it with the auditor's presentation on the 19th, November.